to start. We have the Department of Agriculture and Casidra. So we're going to do the department first. My name is Phil Christians, Chairperson of SCOPA. Next to me is Mr. Dustin Davids, and then members, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Leon van Wyk, member of SCOPA.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Benedicte van Minnen, member of SCOPA.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Peter Johnson, member of SCOPA.
Good afternoon, Noma French Mbombo, SCOPA.
Members online.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pat Lecker.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Noko Masipa. I'm the chairperson of the Portfolio on Agriculture, Economic Development and Tourism. Thank you, Chair.
Good afternoon, Chair and colleagues. Basil Petrus.
Thank you very much. We're going to give over to the AG and the Audit Committee for just introductions, and then we'll start straight away with Department of Agriculture.
Thank you, Chair. So good afternoon, honourable members and colleagues. I'm Melanie Joffe and I was the Engagement Manager for both the department and Casidra.
Good afternoon, Chair and honourable members. I'm Ashwin Ramages and I'm the Assistant Manager on the audit from the AJSA.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Crystal Abdal. I am a board member at Casidra and Audit Committee Chair.
Good afternoon, Honourable Chair and members. My name is Peter Strauss and I'm the Chair of the Jobs Cluster, which includes this department.
Thank you very much for introductions. Can we start at page 4, please? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Chair. I know I say it every year, but
I see no hands. I see no questions. So we're done with the department. Eh? Oh, Member Lekker. Member Lekker, was your hand up?
No, Chair. I'm getting ready for Cathedral.
Okay, thank you very much, Member Lekker. Thank you, HOD. We're gonna those who need to leave can leave, and then we'll just go straight away over to Cathedral. But I think there's officials that's gonna leave, so I think Member Peter Johnson can just thank them for the nice work they're doing, and thank you. And then the others will stay behind. Thank you, Member Johnson.
Thank you, Chairperson. I know it's been an extremely long day for the department today, and I think it's also your lucky slot that I think the members of SCOPA are also a little exhausted by this time. But thank you so much for being here this afternoon and the way that we could engage with you. We truly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Do you want to do some concluding about ACD for the department? Maybe you also want to openly thank them.
Not at all, Chair, except to say thanks to you and to the members because this is important for accountability. It's important for our citizens. And yeah, thank you and keep up the good work as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're gonna go over to Casita. We'll take a 1 minute break, but we won't break. We'll just wait for the others to be excused. Just stretch my legs.
We stay. We stay. Maybe you, but keep us down. Yeah.
Introductions. Did we do all the introductions? Members, we're gonna go straight away to Casidra. If we can just have maybe some opening remarks from the chairperson, and then we can get started. Over to you, chairperson.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you very much for this opportunity to appear before SCOPA and perhaps to explain the state of our finances. With me is the chairperson of our Audit and Risk Committee, Crystal Abdul. And then we have our CEO, Mr. Dr. Keith du Plessis, as well as our acting CFO, Ida Besaidenout. I think we really want to be open and honest and transparent. And I then will provide an opportunity to our chairperson of our Audit and Risk Committee also to say a few words. Crystal.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chairperson, to members and Honourable Chair. Really, I think that I'd already engaged with the committee early on, where as an audit committee, management team and board, we've really committed to changing and shifting our audit outcome by implementing new processes and capacitating staff sufficiently. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. I think we're going to start now. Members, we're going to do a part C, page 30 to 38. Is there questions, members? Member,
Yes, Chair, I've got.
I'm going to give you now. Member Leon van Wyk is going first. Okay, let Member Blecker, you go first, and then I'll have a Member van Wyk after that. Member Blecker, you can go ahead.
Is that on part C, Chair?
C of Casidra is page
Oh, no.
30 to 38.
My apologies. I don't have a question on part C.
No problem. Member Leon van Wyk.
Thanks, Chair. It comes up in Part C and probably in the rest of the report as well. And what we discussed or were informed at the meeting with the AG and with the audit committees was the element of regress or slippage that you perhaps just had on the audit opinion. And it appears to be particularly in the area of procurement supply chain, where there have been a number of issues that have arisen there. And I think we understand that supply chain is a fairly complex minefield where one can get into a spot and bother fairly rapidly. And I suppose what we're just looking for is how this is going to be redressed or is being redressed. We understand that the AG has given a management letter in which they have made comments, and quite clearly it appears that there's an element of work that needs to be done internally and also along with the internal audit and with audit committee. So if we can perhaps just get some form of background as to what took place there and what the remedies are, please. Thanks.
Thank you. We're going to get into the details when it gets to the notes of that, but I think I just want to see, is it tight? Did you tidy up your supply chain management? Just a broad overview, then we can get into the details after this. Thank you.
So, Chair, we've had quite a year in the sense that the current CFO built up quite a number of leave days to the extent that there was then a question whether Casidra should pay that leave out or whether the particular staff member should take leave. And that would have really put us in quite a precarious situation because it amounted to quite a large sum of money, which we cannot afford. We then informed the CFO that that is not possible, that he needs to take the leave. We also then found ourselves in a situation where the member actually consulted with his own legal team to see to what extent we can be pressured into paying out leave. We then got legal opinion, which makes it very clear that leave is leave. Leave cannot be translated into cash benefits. And then obviously with that legal opinion in hand, we then asked the member to go on leave. That meant that he is now on leave for almost 3 to 4 months, which had quite an impact on managing the every aspect of our finance department. But we foresaw that, we face particular risk, and that's why we then engage with the minister, the key stakeholder, to then request for the appointment of a interim CFO, because we could not have had a situation on hand where there was not where there was a leadership vacuum at that point in time. We also have our chairperson of our Audit and Risk Committee, Ms. Crystal Abdul, and she is a qualified CA. So there was quite a major intervention from our side to prevent a situation where we found ourselves wanting. So that's the background in terms of, and in my opinion, where these type of things then happened in terms of certain, not deviations, but perhaps things that went wrong. We are in the process now where we have advertised the position. In fact, we've advertised the position twice. We will now appoint a headhunter or a company to help us find a CFO that is up to the job and will be able to maintain the standards that Casidra has come to know of. So that's basically the background to this. So as a board, we have realized that we face particular risk, and in my opinion, it was to expect that this type of regression might occur, especially in view of what has transpired. But that's my viewpoint, and perhaps Crystal, if you can elaborate on that. Thanks.
Thanks, Chairperson. So as indicated earlier on in the session, in the closed session, what we have encountered, the irregular expenditure, most of it really arose from one aspect, and that was the manner in which RFQs below 50 million rand were advertised. So when these, in terms of the new regulation of 2022, when RFQs are advertised, the advert needs to indicate the preference point system that will be applied. In this case, it's an 80-20 principle that will be applied. Management had, even though this had been reported in the previous financial year, and management had indicated that corrective controls had been implemented, it hadn't been consistently applied. And so on that basis, RFQs were issued without indicating that the 80-20 principle would apply. However, when those bids were evaluated by the committee, those bids were evaluated based on an 80-20 point scoring system. So the issue here is that the process was fair but not transparent. And I think that's very important. When lay people read an item and it says irregular expenditure, they can get a very skewed view and understanding of what that was. But in this case, a fair process was followed. All the bids were evaluated using the same score, using the same criteria, etc., except the point scoring score system was not communicated. So what management has committed to doing is to do there was a root cause analysis done where a workshop was held. As a board, the board is committed to shifting that audit outcome and to correcting the deficiencies that are present. So the board has then tasked management with identifying a training program that would deal with PFMA legislation, preferential procurement, policy framework, act regulations, etc., to capacitate staff throughout the organization around the PFMA and the various prescripts. We've also, as a board, approved that management appoint, or we've approved an SEM manager role subject to funding. And again, we have had disciplinary processes being implemented in the organization. So we've looked at this punitively, but also looked at it from a constructive perspective where training will be provided. So once the controls are implemented, a lot of the corrective action has been taken. It was pretty simple to include on the template which preference point system would be used. It wasn't a difficult task. So that has already been implemented. So we've reviewed the SCM process. We've introduced some new controls, and our next audit committee is scheduled for early November, and we'll have a look at the effectiveness of those controls. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a follow-up on that before we move on? I'm just helping to understand. Isn't there a policy? How can a person, a lot of companies, a lot of in government also, they have a policy to say you cannot stack up your leave for so much, 3-4 months. You can't have so much. You can only put in the bank X amount. Did you work on your policy to make sure that this does not happen again? Because now you don't have money, but you must give out money because so I don't know what's happening, because you're giving out money. You didn't have money to give the guy, but now you're giving out money. So that for me is a big dilemma. And can you just tell us, is there a reviewed policy when it comes to leave? Thank you.
Chair, so we have had that policy being implemented for some time. Staff also were notified that they will lose their leave days if they don't take it. So those interventions were implemented. The challenge that we've faced is that the particular gentleman that I referred to has been in the employment of Casida for more than 30 years. So it has, I don't know what the previous leave dispensations, all of these entailed, but it was built up over quite a long period. But there were interventions, and perhaps the CEO can just elaborate on that. But I can assure you, under our watch as a board, we will not tolerate any leave accumulation and then have that expectation that leave must now suddenly be turned into cash, because it is unfortunate that situation has occurred over decades. The CEO?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, Chair, I think that was one of the first policies that we've changed when I came, I think around about 2022. December 22. So since then, no more accumulation of leave or payout of leaves is allowed. People will be paid up to 25 days when they exit the employ, but so that is kept at 25 days. So no more than that.
Okay, that answers that. We're going to move on to the PFMA compliance. Members, over to you.
Thank you,
Member
Chair.
Lecker, go ahead, Member Lecker.
Thank you, Chair. Page 48, on the 141 invoices. What steps are being taken to ensure the timely payment of suppliers to avoid late payment penalties? But also, Chair, what else needs to be done in ensuring that the measures are rather very tight? I know sometimes you may get invoices at a later stage, but is there nothing else that could be done to improve the situation? Thank you.
Is there other questions, member? Do you have more questions? Is that members? Is the members of the chamber? Yeah, you can ask more.
Only on part F, Chair.
Okay. So can I just ask the following questions? Of course, you have on the PFMA. There's quite a number of fruitless and wasteful expenditure here. Irregular expenditure in the current year, 358. And then you have, I'm just checking, illegal expenditure condoned. Where's this other one that I saw now? Oh, fruitless and wasteful expenditure here at the end of 46, page 46. And then, of course, here we have a lot of limited bids on page 49. I think you heard what we said previously about the limited, and then you have expansion on page 51. I don't expect the answer for everything, but just give the general view of, the expansions and also the limited bidding. We understand what it is, but just explain to us, like I explained previously, there's only maybe one service provider, or you've tested the market, and so on. So if we can just have some answers on that, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chair. May I ask CEO and CFO to just respond? Thanks.
Thank you, Chair and members. On the amount of invoices, the 141, there was a period at the farms where there was not a bookkeeper. So those are all the suppliers on the two farms that were a bit behind. It was all caught up. Up to date, we don't have any outstanding more than 30 days in the whole of the company. Then the second question was on supply chain management and the bids and the expansions, which I'm just going to ask Sean to give us more clarity on that one, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairperson and members. Maybe just to give Chairperson maybe just some context. We try and limit the limited bids and the variations as much as possible. So these solid governance controls that we've put in place. So it's not a one-man decision. It's actually business cases that's developed, motivated, which goes through the delegate authority, which includes the CFO, the CEO, and it's also then presented at the BAC, where it's ratified as well. Suppliers, it's confirmed on the CSD tax compliance checks. It's actually market research or related prices that's confirmed to make sure it's benchmarked against that. And the deviation register is also frequently every 14 days submitted to Provincial Treasury as well as to the AGSA. And what we've tried to do is to automate some of these things where we can within the procurement system and the supply chain project management system to integrate, to trace and track some of these things. So that's part of our things. And some of these deviations still remains frequent. And some of the aspects that we consider and look at is the agricultural space that we operate. It is a diverse, challenging environment, but yet each, as I stated, deviation is motivated, it's approved and reported as well. But the idea is always to reduce that as well. And some of the expansions you'll see on the list is a lot of them relates to construction works as well. And construction projects, it's most of the times when the guys are on the ground, then they realize there's a stumbling block and there might be a change where they need to deviate slightly, which in most cases increases the costing as well. Thank you, Chair.
Page 46, do you have the fruitless and wasteful expenditure confirmed? 1.2.
Yes, Chair, we do. The fruitless and wasteful expenditure consists of 66,000 Rand, which was because of a beneficiary that did not deliver the services and goods to that value. The case was handed over to the SAPS. The SAPS confirmed that it is not a criminal case. So we're trying to recover that. And the other portion of that was just because we had the suppliers more than 30 days, so we had some interest that we had to pay to that suppliers. So there's an interest portion in that amount as well.
Thank you for that. Just, I just want to come back with the question that member Lecker asked, and it's just, you see this invoices paid after 30 days. 141 looks bad. And what we've asked departments last year is to put a brief explanation there, so that people understand, it will just look 141. Why don't those people pay in 30 days? So if you don't have explanation, we'll never know. But fortunately, we can ask questions. But members of the public that sees this book can't ask the questions. So just for noting for you. Members, we're going over to financial information. Member Lekker, over to you first.
Hi, Chairperson. Chair, page 54 on expenditure management and internal control deficiency. I want to get an understanding again on steps that are being taken to address the AG's findings to improve future audit outcomes. This is in relation with the irregular expenditure and internal control weaknesses. Then the second one is on 58, on the statement of financial position. Casidra reported a deficit of 2.2 million for the year with accumulated deficit. The entity remains dependent on government funding.
Wait, quickly. Member Lekker, there's a lot of noise from your side. It's difficult to hear what you're saying. It's a lot of noise. You can go again and then just make sure that we don't have that noise. Thank you. Go ahead, Member Lekker.
My sincere apologies, Chair. So I was saying this is in relation with the deficit at Casidra. So I want to check what are the plans to improve a financial sustainability and reduce reliance on government funding. Then the last one, Chair, is on page 70. Maybe this one has been answered, but I just want to check, is there a plan, or what is the status of the 6.1 million legal claims, and what steps are being taken to resolve it to prevent similar incidents? Thank you, Chair.
Any other questions? If I can just throw my one in, and it's on note 35, the annual financial statements as required by section, and I'm reading, of the PFMA, the majority of irregular expenditure caused by non-compliance with regulation 3.1. And as member Van Wyk said, the AG also picked up provincial procurement regulations. So there's a major problem because of that you have regressed. And we heard the explanation there, and it most probably it will be fine when the people are appointed, and hopefully you'll have no material findings going forward. If you can just give us some, and then of course your also the part of the AG's report, and that was just on page 27 talking about your achievements of indicators. You've also lacked, when it came to not achieving your indicators, service delivery indicators. If you can just elaborate on that. I know that was discussed this morning, but for us, it's part of the AG's briefing notes. Chairperson, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. May I ask, perhaps start with Crystal, if you can just elaborate on some of the questions asked, and then CEO. Crystal.
Thank you, Chair. I've tried to address the kind of controls that will be implemented to deal with the irregular expenditure. So the first one is to review the procure to pay process, do an end-to-end review, to do a skills assessment, and then so we've looked at implementing new controls. We will do a detailed risk assessment. I'm not sure whether that's already been completed on the SCM process. but a detailed risk assessment would drive and direct the kind of controls that need to be implemented. Thereafter, we will augment the existing understanding of members of the SEM unit, but also the broader organization with training on PFMA, training on the various procurement pieces of legislation and regulations, national treasury regulations, etc. And I think more importantly is to have the monitoring mechanisms in place so that we're able to identify when there is deviation from the process. So Sean has already alluded to introducing systems and automation, and that will certainly assist in terms of the detection of deviation. Just in terms of the contingency of 6.1 million rand, that is a matter that has been in progress for a number of years, and we have not heard from our attorneys in that regard, and so we haven't. There's been no progress thus far. Chairperson, I've also touched on Regulation 3.1. And that regulation requires that we, in our advert, indicate which preferential point system will be applied. And so I have touched on that. And so I think the CEO will speak to a revenue strategy, the appointment of a business development manager to address future sustainability and then the achievements. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Crystal. Thank you, Chair. Yes, in terms of the reliance or reducing the reliance on the state funds, we have appointed since September a business development service provider that's going to assist us, that's busy assisting us in engaging private sector to raise additional income. That is part of our strategy to at least by 2030 match income from the public sector through private sector funds, and that will then assist us in extending our reach into the rural areas as well as to service our clients better. And then in terms of not achieving some of our indicators, bulk of the indicators that has not been achieved was actually dependent on external factors, and we have now actually changed that indicators in the new year after engaging the board, and we've focused no more on smart target setting that is within our own actual reach. Thank you, Chair.
Member Van Wyk.
Thanks, Chair. On the statement of financial performance, there's a deficit of 2.2 million rand. However, on page 58, which is the director's report, I don't really see an adequate explanation on that deficit. In terms of the director's report that one would have expected there. Could we get some clarity on that?
Thank you.
Chair, may I ask Ida just to respond?
Thank you, Chair. The deficit of 2.2, mainly you'll see that our funding for the year is 32 million compared to the prior of 35 million. We have improved on our rendering of our services line, which is 3.2 million compared to 1.7 in the prior year. And that is also from new services that we rendered to Cape Nature. And then basically the other factor that comes into light here is our personnel expenditure, which has gone up from 28 million to 32 million. And that is with just under 5% increase on staff. And on that line, we also appointed 4 new staff members and on that line. So basically, that deficit also comes from mainly from, if you look at the funding part at the top. All the other expenditure is in line.
Well, thank you. Follow-up?
Well, I think, that explanation I would have expected would have been, if it was set out in the director's report, it would have meant a lot more to the reader or the user of these financial statements.
Thank you very much. Members, is there any other questions on financials? I see no hands. I think we're done. Thank you. Chairperson, if you want to make concluding remarks, thank you very much. And then, okay, go in.
Thank you, Chairperson. Also, thank you to the members of SCOPA for asking the relevant questions. It's your job to keep us accountable. As a board, it is our role to support management. We've got a massive fiduciary responsibility, and obviously we will do our utmost best to mitigate risk, especially when it comes to supply chain management, when it comes to financial sustainability. As you've heard, there are a number of interventions, additional human resources being appointed to become more self-reliant, because to just rely on money from the fiscus, puts severe pressure on the mandate and the execution of that mandate by Casidra. But overall, I think we have a very specific role that we fulfill in terms of delivering our projects, and that is the vision that we are pushing forward to become a leading project management service delivery entity for all government departments, and even to a very large extent assist with other entities as well, because I think there's a lack of capacity in that regard, and that is the role that Casidra can fulfill going forward. Thank you.
Mr. Meyer, are you online? Do you want to do concluding remarks? Minister Meyer, on the line?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I want to express my sincere thanks to the Auditor General, the Audit Committee, as well as to Casidra, as well as the Chairman of the Board, Ms. Abdullah as well, and the CEO. I'm very proud of the excellent record of their achievement. There's no other organization that has achieved 56 years of clean audit. So congratulations and thank you, Chair, for
Thank you, Minister. Member van Minden is going to thank Casidra.
I want to thank you very much for being here on a Thursday afternoon. We really appreciate that, and for answering all the questions. And also I want to thank our chair, who I think by the end of annual reports is going to deserve a long service award. So thank you very much, everyone. Drive safely and see you again next year.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's some refreshments in the members' lounge. You can please enjoy some. Thank you. Let's go, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Chairperson. Through you, Chair, there were just about three requests for information, Chairperson, and basically just one concern, Chair, that was documented. Request for information, Chair, page 204, regarding the footless and wasteful expenditure. Was there any DC of employees, Chair, disciplinary, and they say that they don't have it on hand, they will forward it to us, Chair. And the internal controls of this fruitless and wasteful expenditure, Chair. They indicated that they can also send us those things, Chair, as well as on note 14.1, Chairperson, the not approved rollover. There can also be a report submitted, Chair, and then just the concern from Member Van Wyk, Chair. I'll just put it in the body of the report, Chairperson, about the deficit of 2.2 mil in the statement of financial performance, and that there were no explanation in the director's report, which could have had value to the user of the statements. Thank you, Chair.
And what Member Wyk said, what the AG has not pointed out, I know they've put a lot of steps in place, but I think they must come brief us to tell us, this is what all happened. I mean, we had to ask him about the leave. I mean, just put it in, it's changed, but they don't do that, and they don't. The same with the 141 looks very bad. The invoice is not paid, but they don't put it there. Remember, Wyk?
Yes, I think, we didn't get the full story at the first round.
Yeah.
And then we obviously got a little bit more. And the key fact that people are not taking leave and key members of management, because effectively it sounds like there is some form of parting of the ways between the company and the senior management member there. And so I think some of these things are areas of concern or potential concern if they are not addressed very quickly.
No additions? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much. Member Petrus.
Can you hear me, Chair?
Hear you now. Go ahead.
Yes. I refer to page 280, Chairperson of the department. I don't know. Can we have a report or maybe just a criteria, Chair, on the policy for transfers to non-profit institutions, so that we know how they qualify to receive funding, what must they do, or the do's and don'ts. Just for the sake of transparency.
We'll do that.
We'll do that. Yes,
We'll do
thank
that, remember, we'll do that. The procedure officer has noted that, so we will ask them and they'll give us the documentation. Is that fine, Member Lecker?
Thank you, Chair. Mine would be the 7 cases of the where 71,000 was an issue. I think that was a question from myself. Can we get details of those cases or an update? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is that it, members? The meeting is then adjourned.
you.